All right, we're going to walk through a few problems. Notice that you have this handout. It has the discussion questions. I'm not going to go through the discussion questions, but going through the discussion questions and seeing if you can answer them, then checking with the solution is a great way to prepare for the multiple choice for the exam. So on this handout, the solutions are attached to those. So I'd encourage you to go through those. But we're going to go through several problems. But remember in your handout that we went through, we discussed the format of the cost of goods manufactured. So this is my cost of goods manufactured, my cost of goods sold statement, okay, and your income statement, and then your materials used. Okay, now these two are the formal statements, and I've put all three of them here because I just want to show you how knowing the format and then filling in numbers can really get you through these problems. So I've done it on Excel. You don't have to do it in Excel. But what I've done here is remember from the previous assignment on your handout that we had what I started with plus what's added gives us available minus what's left gives us what moves on. So for raw materials, it's beginning inventory plus purchases gives us available minus ending inventory is materials used. It is critical that you understand and know the accounting terminology so you can converse with something. For work in process, and again, I've abbreviated, but beginning inventory plus what's added, and what's added are our total manufacturing costs. So make this a different color. So beginning inventory plus what's added gives us available minus ending inventory is cost of goods manufactured. And again, they have the available, slightly different terminology there. But we add direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. Those are our manufacturing costs. Cost of goods sold, what I started with, beginning inventory plus what's added, which is cost of goods manufactured, gives us available minus ending inventory is cost of goods sold. Then the income statement is sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit minus operating expenses equals net income. So what I've done first is just plugged in these numbers. So beginning of the year, 20,000, 12,000, 80,000. End of year, 24,000, 8,000, and 90,000. Okay? Then I'm told I have direct materials used. Be careful, that's used, not purchased. So that's the total down here. Direct labor, 120,000. Selling expenses and administrative expenses are operating, so they go over there. Then I want the cost of goods. The requirement says a cost of goods sold manufactured statement. I'm going to do a cost of goods sold statement too. And then we want the cost per product. So basically, once you plug them in, it's just a matter of figuring it out mathematically. So my direct materials used comes from there. Okay, so I have, let's figure out what else I can determine. Okay. And notice that I can't go further, so I'm looking for something that I missed, and I overhead assigned to production is 192,000, so that would have helped. Okay, so now I know that my total manufacturing costs are direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. So 522, my available is 12 plus 522 is 534. My available minus ending inventory. And note, you can pause this whenever you want to kind of review it or slow down, etc. Some people go faster than others, so those people that go slower can pause this tape. Okay, so then I have my cost of goods sold. Comes from my cost of goods sold statement. So I have beginning inventory plus what's added is cost of goods manufactured. And so I have available minus ending inventory is 90,000. Okay, so I have my cost of goods sold. This particular problem didn't ask for this one. I could back into it because I know available minus ending inventory is materials used. So I know 234 minus 24 is 210. Now I can back into purchases. I know that I started with 20 and I bought some and I got 234. So if it asks for a materials use statement, I've got that one. Okay. It says operating expenses. So my cost of goods sold comes over there. Notice that it doesn't ask for an income statement, and I really couldn't prepare an income statement. All I know right now because I have 310,000 of operating expenses. The only number I'm missing is sales. So if they had given me sales of $1 million, okay, then I could figure out my gross profit, which is sales minus cost of goods sold. It's gross profit minus my operating expenses gives me net income. But again, I made that number up, so don't go looking for that data. Okay, so A, prepare a schedule of finished goods manufactured. Says note not all data given or used in the schedule. Okay, that would be these two. And also my beginning inventory for raw materials. So now we assume that we manufacture a single product and that 20,000 units were completed. So I manufacture these. Notice I need to make sure it's asking for manufacturing cost per unit and not the cost of goods sold per unit. So I have 20,000 here, and I know I've got to split the 526,000 divided by the 20,000. I get 2630. So you can kind of see how I just basically did it very quickly on Excel. Go through here. I have your solutions, and we can see if I did it right here. Okay, and so here's what a very formalized cost of goods manufactured statement is. Notice they call it a cost of finished goods manufactured. I'd like to call it cost of goods manufactured just because it has nothing to do with finished goods inventory. So I've got 12,000 plus our 3 manufacturing costs gives us our total manufacturing cost. I call this available. They say total cost of goods in process during the year. Theirs is a better definition, and your online homework requires you to choose this. Less ending inventory is 526. I divide it by the 20,000, and I get 2630. Okay, so I'm going to pause this. We're going to go to the next one, and I'm just basically going to clear out the numbers out of this one and reuse. Okay, so here is exercise 16.9, or just a statement, finished goods manufactured. So the require is a cost of finished goods manufactured, so that's this one, and an income statement. So really what they don't tell us is that we really need a cost of goods sold to prepare the income statement. So basically, again, I have just simply plugged in the numbers. Okay, so beginning inventories are 40, 60, and 42. 40, 60, and 42. Ending inventories are 10, 29, and 52. 10, 29, and 52. During the year, the company purchased $40,000 of direct materials purchases and incurred $21,000 of direct labor costs. Direct labor. Total manufacturing overhead costs for the year amounted to $18,000, right there. Selling and administrative expenses amounted to $60,000. I just narrowed that column and put the total here, so these two are basically together, $60,000. And sales amounted to $250. Okay, so I've just plugged in the numbers, so now I can determine what my goods available are. So 80,000. So 80,000 minus ending inventory is 70,000. So my direct materials become 70,000. So I have my total manufacturing costs. Now I can determine that. So my total available is beginning inventory plus my manufacturing costs. And my cost of goods manufactured is 140,000. My cost of goods manufactured now feeds into my cost of goods sold statement. I have beginning inventory plus cost of goods manufactured gives us available. Available minus ending inventory is cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold feeds into the income statement. So I have sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit. Remember, I don't have to split out the operating expenses. So gross profit minus operating expenses is net income of 60,000. So again, let's see if I got that right. Typed in my numbers right. Okay, so a little prettier. Okay. So I've got beginning work in process of 60 plus my 3 manufacturing costs, 70, 21, and 18, gives me 109, 169, less ending inventory is 140. So that's my computation of direct materials used, which agrees to that. So notice I have my income statement is sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit, minus selling and administrative expenses is net income of 60. And indeed, they have the cost of goods sold statement because I need that to get my 30. So beginning inventory plus etc. So again, notice how if you have these, you can feel the flow of goods. A lot of your homework questions will say, okay, so determine the balance and work in process, etc. So think of this as basically a T account. So let's say I have my work in process here, and this is my debits, and these are my credits. Okay, so work in process is an inventory account, so I have a debit. So I had a $60,000 debit balance to begin. I added direct material. I'll put this in one line so I don't have to. I added direct labor in different journal entries, and I added manufacturing overhead. Okay, and then I sold some. And if you notice that then my ending balance is that plus what I added minus what I sold. There's my $29,000 of ending inventory. So basically this works, this is a statement kind of formalizing the T account. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. We're going to go to the last problem. Okay, we're going to problem 16.2a, and I've plugged in the numbers. First of all, $750 for direct materials used, which goes there. Notice that I can go ahead and put it there also. So $750, direct labor $800,000, income tax expense $100,000. You can't see that. I'm going to have to push it over. I changed my income statement to sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit minus operating expenses gives me income before taxes minus taxes equals net income. Okay, so that's net income before tax. Okay. All right. Then I have general administrative expenses $500,000 right there. Manufacturing overhead 1.2 right there, and selling expenses $500,000 right there. So right now, I haven't read that yet, but right now I do know that total manufacturing costs are $2,750,000. Okay, then it looks like I really can't go much further, but if I go up here, I began operation early in the current year, building luxury homes. During the year, the company started and completed 45 motor homes at the cost of $55,000 per unit. So basically, if I started them and completed them, I have no ending inventory unless I had beginning inventory. So I'm wondering right now about my beginning inventory to see if I had any ending inventory. But I completed 45 homes, okay? So at a cost of $55,000. So I'm going to go on and read on and see if I have any beginning inventories. Of these, 43 were sold for $105,000 each. So now I can go to my income statement, and I know that I sold plus 43 times. Okay, so there's my sales. And the two remaining in finished goods inventory. So ending inventory for finished goods ought to be 2, but don't take them times the 105,000 because that's what I sold them for. That's not what they cost me. So notice they cost me 55. So there's my ending inventory. Had 6. In addition, the company had 6 partially completed units in its factory at year end. Okay, so I have 6 in ending inventory. All right, and so notice that I started and completed 45 homes. So if I completed them, I have 45 times 55,000. But I also know that I sold 43 at 55,000. Okay, so my cost of goods sold can go here. Okay, so now I can go here. So I can get my total available. So 208 minus 330 is 245. I can back into my beginning inventory, which honestly should be the same as my And then I have, pause this. Okay, I'm going to go through this. I paused because I'm trying to figure out there's an error in this problem, but I want to show you, I still think I can show you how to use it. But notice it says the company started and completed 45 homes. And then I had 6 in ending inventory. 6. In addition, the company had 6 partially completed units in its factory. All right, they ignored that in their solution, so I'm going to show you what their solution is and then show you how I would have done it. Basically, the numbers aren't going to make sense because it says it's a cost for $55,000. Again, that you'll understand as I go through it. Okay, but basically, they should have taken this out right there. Okay. And we'll go through it. Okay. If I hadn't already put this in here, I deleted it, but since I've got that in there, and I think we can work through it and understand the logic here. Okay, so I'm going to ignore the 6 partially completed units at year end, and I'm also going to ignore I started and completed. Okay, I'm just going to cross off the word started. Okay, so cross off that word started and just say completed 45 homes. Okay, so I don't know necessarily, and I'm also going to cross off this, in addition, 6 partially completed units were in factory overhead. So cross that off also. Okay, so basically I'm going to assume beginning inventory was 0. I have $2,750,000 in manufacturing costs, and my cost of goods manufactured is $2,475,000. So now I can back into my ending inventory. This should have been blank. So I would have 0 plus 275 equals 275, and 275 minus some number gives us 2,475, so that's 275,000. So I'm going to add my cost of goods manufactured here. So now I can figure out my available. And now I can figure out my beginning inventory, again, is 0. Okay? So now my cost of goods sold, move that over. No, I've already done that. So sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit. Have my 2 selling and administrative expenses. So I've got gross profit minus selling and administrative is 1150, and it was 100,000, right? Okay. So my net income is 1050. So let's go to the solution. Then I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Okay, here we go. Here's the problem. The problem asks for total manufacturing costs assigned to work in process. That's my $2,750,000. The next one's cost of finished goods manufactured is 45 finished and 55,000. So 2,475,000 cost of goods manufactured, which comes over here. My cost of goods sold is 43. So 43 times 55,000 is that number. Gross profit on sales is sales minus cost of goods sold is 2,150,000. Okay, and then I have ending inventory. Ending inventory, notice they have the total available minus 2,745 minus my cost of goods manufactured, so they backed into that. Okay, that's how I knew they needed beginning inventory of 0. And ending inventory is 110. Notice I did it this way, 2 units times 55. Okay. However, I'm going to go back to how the problem tells me and how I would have done it. You can see it's going to not make sense with the numbers provided. Okay, but let's go back to this. I think the only thing that's going to change here is our cost of goods sold. So, or I'm sorry, cost of goods manufactured. Because if they had 6 partially completed units in ending inventory, I would have taken 55, 6 times 55,000, 100. Got 55,000. So got 330,000. Okay. I know that my available, let me double check that. Yep, six partially completed units. Okay. In my ending inventory. Okay. Let me pause 1 second. Delete that. That's not right. Because if they're partially completed, they might not have all $55,000 worth of costs. But I do know that if I started and completed 45 motor homes, my beginning inventory and my ending inventory need to be the same. So let me see. These are the total cost for the year. Okay, I'm sorry. My total cost for the year, that's this one, my total available. Okay. Basically, I was thinking if they started 45 and finished 45, my beginning and ending inventory need to be the same. And so I kind of know there's some sort of error in this problem because this number is 2,750,000 given in the problem. Okay. Again, worded kind of strangely. I would change this to say that we have total manufacturing costs for the year, including beginning inventory, is $2,750,000. So honestly, this is a question mark up here, and these are honestly question marks because the direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead includes the beginning inventory. So total costs for the year are as follows. So again, it won't fit into mine. You're computing this number right there. So this part of it can't really be done in a formalized way. So now I can back into my ending inventory of 275. Quite frankly, if they started and completed 45 and had 6 partially completed here, I know I had 6 partially completed up here too. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same cost, the 275 and the 275, simply because the entire cost was $55,000 and I don't know how partially complete they are. Okay, so basically, again, I think I would have reworded this problem, but my total available is there. I would have given you beginning inventory costs or said these costs include beginning inventory costs for the year. So there you go. Sorry about that very strangely worded problem there, but I think you can see how you can back into the numbers given enough of those on these formal statements and a little bit of confusion over they give you this number. Okay. Thank you.